So I thought I'd make this video about what is going to happen in the short term. And if you want to check out some of the things I'm saying, you can go onto the website and have a look around there. So anyway, I think that now is a good time to try and pull together some of the threads of Bible prophecy that have been emphasized by Prophecy Workshop. Everything that I'm about to say can be checked out in greater detail on the website. Firstly, the world is on a timetable that can't be changed. 6,000 years of history followed by the 1,000-year millennial period when Jesus will rule on the earth. We're currently somewhere near the end of the 6,000 years. Before Jesus returns, the world will go through the 7-year tribulation period, which is a time of God's wrath on the earth. However, before this happens, the members of the church on the earth, which is not appointed for God's wrath, will be removed from the earth to be united with the other members of the church who have gone before. In other words, the church age, the age of grace which we are now in, will end, and then the tribulation will start. So we're currently in a time since 1948 when the nation of Israel exists at the same time as the church exists. So something like this has only happened once before in history, after the birth of the Church of Pentecost. It was really the nation of Judea continued to exist up until the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD. So now the nation of Israel exists again, and it will never be moved again. In the short term, its future is good. From a Bible point of view, God's timetable is based upon the Jewish people and the nation of Israel. So in a sense, the church age has been a bit of an interruption in this story of the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. So when the church is removed, that story will continue again. This is something that writers such as Sir Robert Anderson and Gratan Guinness both realised back in the 19th century. All Bible believers knew, and have always known since people have been able to read the Bible in their own language, that the Jews would be restored to their own country. The only question was when. Now we know that the date was May the 14th, 1948, when the modern State of Israel was created. Since then, the State of Israel has developed at an astonishing rate, despite all the attempts of its Muslim neighbours to destroy it. Israel will defeat Hamas, Hezbollah, and all the other neighbouring Islamic groups that are opposing it at the moment. Psalm 83 shows clearly that Israel will defeat the plans of the enemies on its immediate borders. Another aspect of all this is the different groupings of the nations around the world. I have tried to show in the videos that I've done on the 153 fish that the world is divided into 153 people groups. 2/3 of the nations are destined to be sheep nations and have an eternal future because they were created by God and they're in His will. 1/3 of the nations are goat nations. These are the nations descended from Abraham's concubines, Hagar and Keturah, and also the nations descended from Seir the Horite, who intermarried with the descendants of Esau, who were called the Edomites. All these 51 goat nations are in some way descended from Abraham, the father of nations, but they were never part of God's perfect plan. The modern-day equivalent of these nations are the Islamic nations of Africa and the Middle East. The other alignment of nations is the one in Ezekiel 38 and 39. Here we have the Gog-Magog alliance of nations, which is Russia, Turkey, and Iran. We also have the Tarshish nations, which are Britain and her ex-colonies, who are allied with Sheba and Dedan, which are the Sunni Arab nations of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Arab states. We can see currently how Britain and the USA are increasing their defence ties with this region. As I explained at the outbreak of the Ukraine war, Putin will fail in his current campaign. The day will come when Russia does push through this region in an attempt to turn south and invade Israel. However, the time is not yet. Satan knows his time is short, so he's always trying to speed up his plans, but he can't operate outside of God's timetable. The Gog-Magog invasion of Israel, prophesied in Ezekiel, will happen at a time when Israel feels secure and has let down her defenses. Currently, Israel feels insecure and is armed to the teeth and is still surrounded by enemies. So the short-term future is good for Israel and her allies. The enemies of Israel will be defeated, and there will be a time of growth and prosperity for Israel, for the Tarshish nations and the Arab Gulf states. The Bible doesn't explain how long this situation will last. At some point in the future, all this will change, but at the moment I'm just talking about the short term, the next few years. Things will apparently get better, but ultimately, the time of God's wrath is just around the corner. Now is still the time of God's grace. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, now is the time to do it. When this church age of grace is over, it's over for good. The world will revert to how it was before the church was born at Pentecost. God's restraining hand will be lifted, and evil will be able to flourish as never before. I've attached a YouTube link for a video called Countdown to Armageddon that I made in February of 2023, which explains in more detail some of the things I've been talking about. You can also find this on the website. So thank you for listening. I hope to do 2 more videos on the medium-term future and the long-term future. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.